So, my name is Martin. I'm a software engineer at QuantStack. And so, as you said, before QuantStack, I worked at Logilab and Untitled. And I was a student at Jupyter in Toulouse. And now I work at QuantStack, where we are a small team of open source developers working on many different projects and many different subjects, from low-level C++ libraries like Extensor to high-level data visualization libraries in Python and C++, JavaScript. So today I'm going to show you a small presentation about IPyWidget, which is one of the libraries on which we work. And I'm going to do, so IPyWidget is a Python library for Jupyter and for Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab. It has a lot of contributors and it's well maintained. So I'm going to make a lot of demonstrations today. I hope it's gonna work correctly. So IPyWidget, it's a Python library it's open source. You can find the code on GitHub easily. You can install it easily with conda. Conda install -c conda forge IPyWidget, and it works. So it's a Python library. So here I'm going to create a slider widget. So it's a Python object that I'm creating in the notebook. And when I'm displaying it, I see, you don't see that much. I see a slider widget in the notebook. So you create a Python object, and when you want to display it, it's not a Python object, it's a widget in JavaScript. So you can retrieve the value from the Python side, like that. You can set it from the Python side, and you can display it as many times as you want. And it's synchronized. So basically, how it works, you have a Python object on the back end, which is synchronized with a JavaScript model on the front end. And every time I display my slider, I create a new view. So here I'm exactly in this use case. I have two views of my slider. So when I interact with it, the view will send an event to the JavaScript model, which itself will send an event to all other views, and it will be synchronized with the Python object on the back end. So it's really useful for driving your data and interacting with your data. So here with an integer value, but you can also drive a Boolean value if you want, using a checkbox widget. So if I check it, the value will be true. And if I uncheck it, it will be false. Sorry? Okay. Like that? Bigger? Like that? Okay, sorry. So you can set the value from the backend, like I did for the slider. You can link two widgets together. So here I create a text widget and a slider widget. And I will link the text value to the slider value. So when I change the slider value, it will reflect on the text widget. And same for this one. You can observe changes on the model. So here I create a button, and every time I change the value of the button, which means if it's clicked or not, I will change the style of the button, so it works. It's nice. There is a variety of widgets in the core library of IPyWidget. So you have a color picker, you have, a day picker, you have a progress bar here, you don't see it, sorry, with a play widget that I link to the progress bar. Okay. You also have media widgets. So for example, I can create an image widget. You don't have a lot of interactivity with it because it's not, I cannot click on it, I cannot zoom in. But what I can do is retrieve the image value as an NumPy array, if I want. And I can, with scikit-image, I can process the NumPy array and update dynamically the value of the widget. I can do the same with video widget. The video widget is new since IPyWidgets 7.4. So you have exactly the same interactivity as for the image. So here I create a video widget with a nice bunny. And I can process the video using OpenCV and update its value. So I don't know if you saw it, but I highlighted the borders with black borders. So it's a really nice library. It has a lot of, I didn't show everything, but it has a lot of widgets in the core library. But it's also a framework upon which you can create new widgets very easily. So there's a lot of different widgets libraries. The first one that I want to show you is bqplot, which is a plotting library based on IPyWidgets. So when I create a simple plot with bqplot, it creates a widget, an interactive widget. So here I'm plotting this function, but if I want to update dynamically the value of the function, I can do it and I have a nice animation for that. So the animation is not just a fancy feature, it allows you to see what happens with your data. So if I change it again, it works. I can create a selection widget, which allows me to select my data in my plot. So here, what I created is a selector widget. It's not a widget that you can display in the notebook. Well, you can display it, but you will have just the string representation of the widget. So what happens here is that it is a real widget. It has a Python model, a JavaScript model, and views, but the views are not visual representation, and by that I mean I cannot display it, but when I add it to my figure, my plot that I created here, it creates a view of my widget, of my selector widget. Once selected, I can retrieve the points that I selected. You have a lot of different plots in bqplot. You have a pie plot if you want, and you still have animations if you want to update the data. You have a scatter plot with color scales, and of course you can create interactions with base widgets. So here I create a button which will update my data on my plot dynamically. So it's nice. So let's clean it. Now the next libraries that I want to show you is IPyLeaflet, on which I worked during the last month. So IPyLeaflet allows you to create interactive maps in the notebook. So it's still based on IPyWidgets. So I can create an interactive map. Well, let's choose yesterday was. Let's visualize the images from yesterday. So this is France. You cannot see it because it's there's a lot of clouds. So I can interact with my map. I can zoom in, I can zoom out. I can add new layers on top of it. So here I create a marker layer with which I can interact. I can change its rotation angle dynamically. So here, as you can see, I keep scrolling back and forth in order to see my view. It's really annoying. So what I will use is Sidecar, a Jupyter Lab Sidecar, which allows me to create a view of my widget in a side pane, like that. So it's another view of my map, so it's synchronized with this one. But now I can scroll up and down and still see my widget, which is nice. You can use it with bqplot as well, with any widgets library. So let's create another type of layer, which is heatmap layer. I will change the position of the map programmatically and create my heatmap layer. I can create a button which changes the data dynamically, and a slider also that changes my data dynamically. We also have a velocity layer in IPyLeaflet, which allows you to display wind streams or ocean streams. That's my favorite one. Let's create another view here, another map, and load some data with X-array. And here it goes. So it's really cool, really, really cool. You also have controls. So what I showed you was layers. You have 3 types of widgets in IPyLeaflet, sorry. You have the map widget, you have layers widget, and you have controls widgets. So controls allows you to create some controls on the map. So here I create a split map control, which allows me to compare 2 maps. And yeah. And it plays well with other widgets libraries. So here, let's create another map. Well, let's first create a plot with bqplot. And let's create a map. And here I created a small marker on which I've put a pop-up, which is the plot. And here it goes. So IPyLeaflet doesn't know anything about bqplot, and bqplot doesn't know anything about IPyLeaflet. But just because those libraries are based on IPyWidgets, you have this kind of interactions for free. So it's really nice. If you create a new widgets libraries, you will have this kind of interactions with other widgets libraries. Also, it's easy to... I wanted to show you this video because it's really nice. It's a video shared by Davide De Marchi on Twitter. So he used IPyLeaflet and QGrid, which is another widgets libraries, to create like a full application to explore some data. And he also uses bqplot at the end of the video. Yeah. So if you want to do 3D rendering in the notebook, you also have another widgets library for that, which is Py3.js, which is a low-level library for 3D rendering. So if you want to create a 3D scene with Py3.js, you will have to set up the lights, the renderer, the meshes, the shaders, and everything. So here I can create just a small sphere. It's easy. I can also, with this code that I picked on Py3.js repository, you can create a small mesh like that. And when I click on it, it computes the minimum of the mesh. So you see, it's low level, but still with I don't know, 300 lines of code, you can have a really nice small application, small visualization. So if you want to do higher level stuff, you can use IPyVolume, created by Martin Brothers, which allows you to do multi-volume rendering in the notebook. So I'm still talking about widget. This is a widget. Those sliders are widgets too. I can, yeah. You have animations like in BQplot. So I can create a play widget button and a slider and animate my data. You also can change so for this plot I will be able to change the glyphs. So for now it's spheres, but I can use diamonds for that, which is less polygons. I can change the size and the color dynamically. Yeah. So that's for IPyVolume. You should check it out. It's really awesome. Another library created by Martin Brothers is IPyWebRTC, on which we worked together. So IPyWebRTC uses the WebRTC API of the browser to so it allows you to create what we call media streams. So a media stream can be a stream created from a widget, from a video, from an audio file, from images, and from your camera. And once you created your media stream, you can record videos from it, you can record images, audio, and stream it to peers if you want. And then you can process the images, you can, yeah. So let's first create a camera stream widget. So you can see me here. It's my camera. I can record images from the camera with the image recorder widget. I can download the images created. I can record audio. I can record a video. And I can create a chat room in the notebook using IPyWebRTC. So here I will create a small chat room with this name, QuantStack. And I will, instead of sending my face, I will send a video of a small bunny. So here it goes. So here I created the chat room, and Martin Brothers joined me. So I can create an image recorder to take images of, to record images of Martin. And I can use scikit-image to dynamically process the images from his camera. So he is here, and I can process on my computer the images on the fly. I'm sorry, it doesn't look good. It looked good yesterday, but also I said I could create a media stream from any widget. So here I will create a media stream from an IPyVolume widget. So I create the widget here with an animation, and I can create a video stream from it. So this is a video stream. And I can record a video from it. And of course I can download it and send it to my friends. So as I said before, this is for free. So IPyVolume doesn't know anything. I don't remember, but no, sorry. Anyway. So that's for the widgets libraries. There's a lot of them. I didn't show you everything. There's also a 90K widgets library from Kitware, which is really nice. Another thing that I wanted to show you is Voila. So Voila is a Python library which allows you to serve a notebook with IPy widgets in it. So here I've got a complete notebook, but I don't want to see the code, I just want to see the output of my notebook. So what I can do is use Voila to, I can use Voila to create a server, given the name of the notebook, which will serve on port 8866. And here it goes. It executes my notebook and shows the output of the widgets without showing the code. So by default, you can't see the code, and the user won't be able to execute code, so he won't be able to send execute requests to the server. But you still have widgets that works just normally. So you still have the server and the backend and the frontend that communicates the widget state. So it's really nice. We also plan to make this kind of how do I say, of presentation using Voila. So this is still under development, but at some point you will be able to do this kind of things, having a Voila application, a complete Voila application and customable with your widgets in it. So I have a lot of time. What I wanted to show you is Xuscling and Xwidgets. So Xuscling is a C++ kernel based on Xus and Cling. Xus is a C++ library which allows you to create your own kernel for your language. So if I start Jupyter Notebook, so here I will show you Xleaflet, which is, sorry, it's not really clear. I will show you Xleaflet, which is the C++ counterpart of IPyLeaflet that I just showed you. So it's in C++. It's using the Xuscling kernel, so I can execute C++ code in the notebook on the fly. So it compiles it and it shows the output on the fly. And I have support of widgets. So the C++ equivalent of IPyWidgets is Xwidgets. The C++ equivalent of IPyLeaflet is Xleaflet, on which I worked. And voila. So that was really, really fast. It was a lot slower when I did it several times at home. So if you have questions, go on. You can find the slides online. You can find the repositories online on GitHub for all those projects. You can find the documentation online too, and the notebooks that I used are on this link. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin, for this amazing demo. Questions now. We have plenty of time.
So I was wondering what's the language, in which language the widgets are implemented?
So the backend is in Python for IPyWidgets. and the front end is in JavaScript and HTML. So when I display a slider, the view on the page is built with JavaScript code and HTML code.
So you can execute Python code on the fly using the widgets. You can trigger execution of Python code using the widgets.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for the show. I was wondering if you could integrate some visualization or charts from Bouquet.js. I mean, what's the restriction of importing widgets from outside the libraries, even from Python?
I don't know about Bouquet, so I don't think I could answer this question. But Bouquet is a JavaScript library, right? Completely JavaScript.
From the backend.
Okay, so it's in the notebook.
Not in the notebook, no.
And it doesn't use the widgets protocol. But Plotly does, apparently. Yeah. But I think it could be easy to implement the, I don't know, the widgets protocol and support widgets interactions.
Okay, that would be something good to experiment with, actually.
Yeah.
It's both like Python to Python.
So you did your demos in Jupyter Lab.
Yeah.
Is there anything that changes or incompatibilities when you use
Not at all.
Jupyter? Okay.
No,
If
no,
it
it
works
works
in
on Jupyter Notebook
Lab,
as well.
okay.
There's no problem. Yeah.
Great.
Except for the sidecar, Jupyter Lab sidecar that I showed. It doesn't work on Jupyter Notebook. Yeah.
Thanks for your presentation. I had a question about Voila. So you can expose a notebook without code as a web page. I was wondering if I want to build professional application for something that I will expose to some users. Do I have control on the layout of the widgets that will be displayed on the web page?
Yes, that's what I wanted to show here. So it's still under development, but we plan to give more flexibility to the layout, because for now it's just a simple page and you will see widget one after the other. But after, it's planned to support nice layouts that you could create by yourself.
Okay, so if I want a slider or a button, I don't know, a line onto the left,
yeah,
and
you could. Yeah.
Okay, it will be possible.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
One quick question. One thing I didn't see in all of your fancy gizmos is any kind of filter buttons. So like you could filter a data set based on year. Is that something that's in the work? And kind of similar to that, could you filter one view? For example, in this example, could you click on a bar on the histogram and have it change the line chart, or in the?
Yes, of course. If on your notebook you implemented interactions between this plot and this plot, you will have it. Yeah, you still have with Voila. You still have interactions between widgets, and yeah, the state of the widget is still dynamic. Is still dynamic.
That was exactly what I wanted to show in this screen capture that I put here, and I forgot to do. So indeed, if you do a selection here in the line chart, you should see the update in the histogram. But yeah, it was not there.
Thank you for the presentation. It was very interesting. I have a question about when you use the maps. You showed the maps. I imagine it calls an API, an external API. Can you use these features on a platform which is completely disconnected from internet?
You mean the map?
Yes, this one or another one.
Well, basically, if you don't have internet, you won't have. Let me check. So this map here, it downloads the tiles online. So if you don't have internet, you won't see the images because it's downloaded from internet. But if you serve your tiles, your images for the map locally, you could do that without internet. If that's the question.
Yeah, because sometimes in big companies you have like servers, and for security reasons they are disconnected from the external internet.
Yeah, so you could serve your own images. You could create your own server locally that serves the images.
You should import everything internally and then.
Yeah, because basically what you do when you create a tile is, I have no example here. Let me check. Yeah, so I've got the URL that's used for the images. So basically it's just, it's a URL and you have the positions of the, because you know when you have a map like that, it's just a lot of little squares called tiles. And those squares have a position, latitude, longitude. So it's just a URL to, and it will fill the position of the tiles.
Okay, thank you.
Just wanted to answer the question on Bokeh, Jupyter developer here. Bokeh is its own framework. They don't use the Jupyter widgets framework for putting stuff in the notebook. So it's sliders and buttons in Bokeh are not Jupyter widgets, and so they're not going to have this sort of interoperability with the other widget libraries. Yeah, just wanted to mention that. So it's a completely separate ecosystem.
Well, thank you, Martin, again.